Okay, so this is a pretty big. It's a pretty big one, and we're going to talk about this for a second. And I think I really want to fully impress on people that Fallout 5 has been announced. Having said that, I think that the reason for it is a little dicey. I think Fallout has been one of those games that they've had that has had the least amount of turbulence. The people who play Fallout, well, especially in the beginning, let's be honest, have had no problems with Fallout at all. Now, I know that they made the jump from my era to the 3D era, and that actually helped them. It didn't hurt them. But then we look at the later receptions, and then you hit kind of a wall. The online-esque game, fucking terrible. Okay. And the latest game that they had for the single player stuff, let's be honest, fans had a few issues with. But as far as a product on a shelf, it's been the most stable with the least amount of shit. And quite frankly, I'm a game dev, the least amount of work. The least amount of work to get it to run right and to work right and the storylines, it would have been the least amount of work necessary to achieve the most amount of money. Now, why am I hesitant? Why am I not excited? Well, let's be honest. They have had a bit of a rough time with the release of their old space game. Boy. It wasn't good. It did bad. And people like me gave it a try. Okay. I was excited. In fact, I'll tell you this. I played that game with my wife. She said, it looks interesting. I want to watch you play it. So I put it on the big screen and I played it. And she liked it for what it was. But then we both eventually saw the issues. Okay? We saw the issues with the game as we went on, and eventually we didn't even finish it. I'll be honest. I didn't finish it. I couldn't finish it. It was very hard to play. Out of the gate, it looked like a very well done thing. But the longer that you spend in the game, it doesn't have the same depth of characters as any of their other games. And quite frankly, I think it's one of the shortest games because they tried to make you do this like non-linear thing. Okay. Like if you wanted to complete the game from beginning to end, I think it's one of their more short games. Especially with all the bugs and exploits that you can do. Like day one, let me say this, day one, if you have a character that can just load itself up with stuff and then get on your ship doesn't have to hold anything. You don't need cargo space. You are the cargo space. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, can't hold that much. It's like you can. And then you can go and you can do stuff with it with relative ease. It's not like you can't move. Slower. Now, I don't know what stuff has been patched or whatever, but the problem still remains that you did not need to do all that. And when I actually looked at like how much stuff that you need to move and do to make money, say that that bug wasn't in the game. Uh, it wouldn't have been playable because the amount of stuff that you have to move and sell and do and go back and forth with to get like a level, for instance, or like any kind of meaningful money. Uh, not good. Not good. I know because I was there doing it with the exploit. And even with the exploit, it was mildly annoying. And there's a ton of other stuff. There's falling through the map, being able to get to hidden chests at the like listen, I'm a game dev, okay? Former game dev. I don't really do much anymore. I'm going to say this. You can handle stuff ethereally, like in the code. Why they need a physical object to represent the merchant's bank that's beneath the ground is fucking beyond me. I don't know why that exists. I don't know why they need it. I don't know why it can't just be a thing that's coded into the world. Why it has to be a physical representation that you can actually get to. I don't know if they meant it to be a thing that you could find. I don't know if they just thought, I don't know. But I have no idea how their engine works since it's their own engine, right? And I've never been into modding, so I don't know. I mean, never been into modding. The only thing I modded was Age of Empires 2 and Warcraft 3 and a few others. But their engine specifically, I have not worked with. I have no idea why some of the stuff is the way it is or why it's not. But I will say this. Even like the best thing about it was building your own spaceship, getting a crew. But I'll be honest, in that game, most of the choices that you make and the talents that you pick and all that fucking either don't even affect the game, completely fucking useless, doesn't do anything. It's insane. So why am I saying all this? Because I know some of you are like, okay, get to the fucking point. Why am I saying all this? It's because Fallout 5 could represent a need. That they need a game to succeed right now. They can, I think it was always on the players' minds that they can't just keep selling Skyrim forever. Now they got Oblivion. And here's what I think happened. They redid the Oblivion, and they got this huge injection of cash. Now, mind you, they still have to have, between this game and that game being released, we'll get like, 100 different editions of like Fallout or whatever. Surely. But with that show doing as well as it's doing, and the second season approaching, I think that they are making a very healthy profit that they weren't making there for a minute. For a minute, there was this high and then a dip, and that's where they've been sitting. And with that new game, like as I just described, it wasn't that good. And then bam, now they're back on this high again. I think if, in my opinion, as somebody who pays attention and does all this stuff and is on YouTube and all that, I think the sentiment is, while we have the money, let's push to create the next thing. Now, what does that mean? I think, in my opinion, Fallout 5 might be one of the best Fallouts we play. Because on some level, it kind of has to be. If they put out Fallout 5 and it does not do well, that could put the TV show at risk, the company at risk, and they have access to new stuff, you know? We've come a long way, and I know that they've got their own proprietary engine, but there's a lot of stuff that's kind of come out. Plus, you got to think about where the world is of Fallout. You know, we've seen the beginning, and we've played through it a little bit, but maybe we'll finally get a full-on, maybe not war, maybe that's not the right thing, but resolution. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, no, they wouldn't end the story because the story needs to continue for another 100 years if they're going to keep making money. True. But I'm not saying that they're going to have to end it. I'm just saying I think we'll see the biggest progression of it. You know, we're not just going to rehash Fallout 3. Most likely. Although, given how successful Oblivion is, maybe they should have done that, right? Made way more money. But I'm excited because I think that the company is at this impasse. If they continue to make bad games, they're going to be just like Blizzard or just like all these companies that had done so well for so many years and made such good games, and then they just fell off. And they're gonna once they fall off that cliff, they're gonna stay in that ravine or whatever you want to call it. So this game is going to be a make it or break it. I think that's why I'm excited, because it could give them the motivation, and they do have all this injection of cash from all these projects that have been, you know, coming out, to get back to who they were. They have an opportunity. But let's be honest, it's still a corporate world. It's still a company. And we've seen the kind of stuff that they put out. You know, and I'll be honest with people, and everyone can judge me for this. I didn't like Skyrim as much as I liked Morrowind, as much as I liked Oblivion, as much as I liked, honestly, yeah. I mean, I grew up with them. So maybe I just have a certain fondness for the loading screens of Morrowind. You know, could be. But I will say this. I grew up with those, and I prefer them way more than I do with the new systems that they brought in Skyrim and things like that. I don't know why. It just is. Am I saying it's a bad game? No. But I am saying that for me, while the game isn't necessarily worse, I don't prefer it. You know, and I've been playing Daggerfall recently, the new updated version of it. I say new. I don't know when it came out. It's just an updated version of Daggerfall with the Unity stuff. They changed, it's like a remaster or something. I don't know what you would call it. Either way, they upgraded it a little. It's a little bit more stuff that you don't have to deal with that you had to deal with the original game. And I look, that game's old. I put it in its own class. You enjoy it for what it was. But I will say the company is still, again, at this kind of tipping point where they could do a lot of things. They have the money. The fans have not left them. People enjoyed the show. I thought the show was goofy, but then I think about Fallout and I think about Skyrim and I think about any of the Elder Scrolls. I just think about the worlds that they've created. Yeah, it fits. And despite being silly and despite being my preferences for movies or this and that, I thought it was all right. I thought the obviously the ghoul, obviously, and the black kid who killed his fucking master, took his suit. Yeah, I think a couple of those characters is what I really liked about it. It shows they're not afraid to take risks. It shows that they're not afraid to have their show be something that's accurate to the games in a way. I realize that they changed a bunch of stuff and that pissed a lot of people off. That's totally fair. But accurate to the games in the sense that the spirit of it is the same. Even if some of the details have changed, the spirit of what it felt like to play Fallout felt very intact. Even though they changed some of the ghoul stuff, even though they changed some of the details, I feel like, no, it was all right. It was all right. The situations they put the characters in, you felt like, honestly, the world was harsh, that anything could happen. The main characters aren't just protected by plot armor. But anyway, tell me what you think about the Fallout 5 stuff. Let me know in the comments. I reply to all comments. And if you watched the video all the way through, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be on your feed anyway. Thank you for watching. A lot of dedication in that one. And I will see you in the next one.